Usopp, the most understanding and the best written anime character in One Piece is Usopp, the weakest but the strongest character in One Piece. And the reason why I say and why I believe Usopp is as the best written character in the main cast of the story is because yes, all of the stories are perfect and great written character, and this might be a new series where I analyze each of the story and what do I think about them and what make them so good, because all the story is incredible characters and all that are done phenomenal writing when it comes to the story, because the story is a perfect written characters, all of them, but Usopp to me stand out the most, and the reason is because we all understand Usopp. Usopp is the most, like, we all understand Usopp. We all feel what Usopp feels. He's the, like, we understand what's Usopp going through, because other than Zoro, Luffy, Sanji, Usopp is the weakest, and Usopp is the most normal person. He's the most normal human-like person in the crew. When you have Luffy, literally a god, he ate a god, devil fruit. Zoro, a superhuman swordman. Sanji, a freaking robot. His DNA is even different. He's like bird different. He's literally a cyborg. Then you got Frankie, which is half cyborg and half human. You have Nami. Even though she isn't a strong character, she's a very important character. Then you have Sopper, who is a reindeer and he is a doctor of the crew. Then you have Robin, she's a very strong character. My wife, Robin, my wife by the way, my wife. She has a devil fruit. She's very important to the crew. Ease of the story is important to the crew. Frankie, he's a sub. Brooke, very strong character, but he's also important because he's a musician. He got a job in the crew. Jinbei, a very strong fighter and needed in the crew. Then you have Nami, needed on the crew for navigating skills. Robin to find the One Piece. Sanji to feed the crew. So each member of the story have a role in the crew. And unlike all of them, Usopp don't have an important role. Usopp is the most weakest character. Usopp is not needed in the crew. They don't need Usopp. Usopp need the crew, and it feel like each of the story they are important and they bring something to this into this crew. It might be the gift of the job, they like doctor, navigating, separate, all of that, cook. They got a job, but they also bring a strength to the crew. They're also important to the crew, and Usopp isn't like that. He's weak physically. He's weak. Usopp don't have a job, so when the story was about to get a new sub, because the Mary have been breaking down for months, and they have to get a new sub. And for Usopp, the fact that his role of the crew was to look after this one sub. His one goal is to look after the sub. That Kaya, they gave the sub to him. They come from his hometown. This come from his island. This come from him, and his job was to protect the sub. His job was to prepare the sub. His job was to look after the sub. And now the sub is broken, is gone, and they need to get a new sub. And honestly, Usopp didn't see how Luffy to react and how the others tried to react to the news of them getting a new sub. And the first time Usopp reacted to the news of getting a new sub, Luffy was smiling. None of the story was crying. So in Usopp's eyes, he believed that Luffy, getting a new sub mean nothing to Luffy, because before this Usopp was somewhere else, and when at first Luffy heard this news, Luffy was upset, but later when he told Usopp, that feelings went away. So in Usopp's view, he to see the threat, his crewmates didn't care about getting rid of this Mary. Luffy didn't care about getting rid of the Mary, and that broke Usopp. even though you don't know, like all of them, they really care about the Mary, and they want to, make the Mary, get rid of the Mary, because they actually care about the Usopp. But Usopp, in his in his position, in his view, they see how they didn't care about the Mary, and Usopp, to see his job to look after the Usopp and to prepare the Usopp, to do all the good stuff on the Usopp, to look after the Usopp. But now he couldn't do the one job he had, to look after the Usopp. He couldn't do the one thing that he was supposed to do, and that's to look after the Usopp. He couldn't do that. He couldn't finish his job like the rest of the story. And seeing the fact that Luffy was getting rid of his Usopp, of the Mary, so quickly, and having a smile on his face, that make Usopp feel like, hey, this was my job, and I couldn't do the job right. And when he look at like the other side, he's the weakest one there. He couldn't finish his job. He's weak. He couldn't do the one job he had. So he was thinking, am I the next person to leave the crew? Am I the next person they would leave? Am I the next person they would just give up on? Because when you look around, like literally all of them is doing the job. They all bring something to the crew, but Usopp is bringing nothing to the crew. The one job he couldn't do, and that's hurting Usopp. The fact that Usopp feel, hey, this doesn't feel right. Why? They might leave me. They might give up on me. They might just leave like me. They might just say, hey, Usopp, you can't be part of this crew because you bring nothing. And Usopp was so upset, not on Luffy, not on his crewmates, or Luffy, Chopper, Nami, Frank, soon to be Frankie, and then Robin, my wife. Usopp was upset with himself mostly. He was upset on him for being weak, and that's the beauty of Usopp's character. We all feel like that sometimes when we bring nothing to something, where we feel useless. All of us feel useless, and Usopp, they feel useless. Usopp, they feel useless, and that's the thing. We all feel useless, and that's why Usopp is a great character, because all of us can understand that. Where sometimes we feel useless and we don't want to let go, and then we get upset and our raw emotion get in the way. And that's what happened with Usopp. Usopp emotion is him getting upset on Luffy that led to Usopp leaving the crew, but later he did rejoin the crew. And even before all of this happened, Usopp that got beat up, people that stole money from Usopp. Make me say again, the Frankie family, they beat up Luffy, they beat up Usopp and stole his money. They stole the Straw like the bank. They stole the money. Like the Straw have been working for a long time to get enough money to get a new sub and all those stuff, to get the nice stuff. But now Usopp just got robbed for being weak. Usopp was weak. He was so weak. He was so weak that people just robbed him for the crew money. Not even his money, the crew money. So that add like more thing to the emotional and into the character of Usopp. He was so weak, he couldn't protect the money that the crew needed. And that added to that emotional conversation with Usopp and Luffy, where they got upset with himself. And that's the beauty of Usopp. Usopp is a great written character for feeling useless, but at the end of the day, Luffy and the story acknowledge, even though Usopp is weak, even though Usopp brings nothing to the crew, they love Usopp, and Usopp is part of their family, and they will never leave a family behind. They will protect each other because they are family, and they love each other. And then Usopp finally realizing, okay, Luffy will never give up on me. Luffy, the Strider, will never say I must leave the crew. They'll never leave me. I'm in this crew forever. And that's the beauty of Usopp as a character. Not when it comes to Usopp feeling brave. This is Usopp feeling useless. But that's the video. And I hope, because we are in the Elbaf arc. We are in the Elbaf arc, and I'm hoping Oda would focus on Usopp now. I hope there's 2 or 3 chapters on Usopp, because Usopp haven't been, seen a lot. Recently, Usopp have done nothing really in the manga, and I hope Oda, since we're in the Elbaf arc, I hope Oda will really go deep into Usopp as a character and as a thing, and I hope Usopp gets some few sign moment in the above arc, because Usopp is a phenomenal written character, one of the best character in the crew. So I hope you guys like the video and subscribe.